Recently, I attempted my first ever Fire Emblem Ironman run. What is an Ironman, you ask? Well, an Ironman run is a playthrough of a game with no resets. The parameters for an Ironman run in Fire Emblem are quite simple. Your actions mean everything. If you are playing a chapter and overextend yourself and lose a unit you were really enjoying, you can't reset to save said unit. You have to press on despite the setback. However, if your main lord of whatever Fire Emblem game you're playing dies, then it's an automatic game over and your run is finished. If you want to attempt the Iron Man again, you need to start from the very beginning again. I have watched a couple FE Ironmans in the past and have wanted to eventually try one myself. A little over a month ago, I now finally did it and played my first Ironman of Fire Emblem 7 Blazing Sword. I didn't have much of a strategy going into this for my first time, other than be as cautious as possible since I was going to be playing on hard mode. I have only ever completed a hard mode playthrough once, and that was on Three Houses of Blue Lions many years ago. So how did my first ever Iron Man run go? Well, let me break it down. To start off, I originally wanted to play Hector hard mode, as all the fans call it. But there was one problem. I've only ever played and beaten Blazing Sword once. After you beat the game for the first time, you unlock Hector mode, but only for normal difficulty. To unlock Hector hard mode, you need to play and beat Hector mode on normal difficulty once. So that already threw a wrench in my plans. I didn't want to play Lynn's route again, so I went with the only other choice, that being Eliwood hard mode. With no other choice to be made, I selected Eliwood and was off to the races. For the rest of the summary of my Iron Man, I'm not going to bother recounting the story and just focus on the gameplay. In the tutorial chapter, I have 4 units to start with: Eliwood, our Jagan Marcus, Lowen, and our archer Rebecca. I slowly but surely push forward into the fray. Considering the only FE game I've played on hard mode was Three Houses, and that game has tons of ways to make it a cakewalk, not including Divine Pulse, I play very careful so as to not game over on the first chapter. After completing the first turn, I get the 2 axe fighters to join my roster, Bartra and Dorcas. For my playthrough, I chose to use Dorcas due to him having 1 point more in speed than Bartra. In these games, having good speed is extremely important, especially on hard mode. As I continue, I realize that the enemies on these early chapters are not that difficult and start to relax a little, though I am fully expecting things to get harder quickly. Thanks to a lucky crit from Eliwood, I'm able to successfully beat the first chapter on hard mode and press on. In the next chapter, I'm taken aback by the large amount of enemies there were to defeat, and that to beat this mission, I had to kill 20 of them. But due to many of them being common soldiers with very low stats, that put my worries to rest. Not to mention, I also knew that Hector and his party would be joining soon. That didn't stop me from taking this chapter slow like the previous, at least until Hector arrived at the top of the map with Oswin, Matthew, and Sarah. This gave me the opportunity to pincer the enemies and reach all 20 kills needed to proceed forward. In the next chapter, I played far too slowly and ended up being unable to save the village below me and whatever item it would have given me. Aside from that, this mission went off without a hitch. Made a couple of rescue plays, was able to recruit the Myrmidon guy, and thanks to another crit from Eliwood the boss killer, I completed another chapter. Even though it's only been 3 missions, I was getting the feel of how I'm supposed to play on hard mode and what I should be accounting for. Now this next chapter is a doozy. There are 2 units that can be recruited here. One who is worthless and one who is worth everything. The Mage, Urk, and the Troubadour, Priscilla. Between the 2 of them, I want to make sure I could recruit Priscilla the fastest, that way I can use her to recruit Raven in Chapter 16. This mission involves dealing with a lot of cav units and axe fighters, though since my understanding is that I get whooped easily on hard mode the further I progress, I continue to use the tortoise mentality and move on slow and steady. Priscilla can be recruited by visiting the village southwest of where I began, so I send Marcus down there to handle the enemies, visit and recruit the unit that's worth everything, and make my way back. On the 4th turn, though, things began to get dicey. Most of my units have been struggling to kill, except for Eliwood, Hector, Oswin, and Dorcas. The enemy soldiers and calves begin to close the distance, leaving me in a position where if I don't play smart, I could be overwhelmed and lose. I'm able to pull my units back enough to where I will sustain the least amount of reach from the enemy and can form a wall to defend my squishier units. Sadly though, this is where I experienced my first death in the run. I wasn't able to get Rebecca behind the line, which left her vulnerable to the enemy. Yep. There she goes. She's a terrible unit, so I didn't feel bad about losing her, though. Aside from that, my plan worked great. None of my important units died, and I was able to break a hole in the enemy to push through. This time, the boss of the chapter moves in himself to attack me. And for the third time, Eliwood the Crit Machine ends the boss in one swing. In the next chapter, we officially gain the last of the 3 lords for the game. Lynn, as well as her compatriots, Kent, Sane, Will, and Florina. All these units, including Lynn, suffer from the problem I'm already dealing with of not being strong enough to secure kills. To make matters worse, they are at the southeast portion of the map with enemies that will close in fast. Meanwhile, on my front, there are many enemies to get through, but I also have more units to use, which can be an advantage. As I pushed my units up, I miscalculated and nearly got Priscilla killed, which practically gave me a heart attack. Alright, see how this is gonna go. Ah! Oh, my heart for a moment. Good golly, I thought I was about to lose my healer. Eventually, I was able to get control on the west, but struggled to keep Lynn and her party alive to meet up with me. Thankfully, with the help of Rescue, I'm able to save myself from a potential game over and break Lynn through to Eliwood and Hector. The rest of the chapter ended up going smoothly as the enemy got picked apart and Hector finished off the boss, leaving the castle open for Eliwood to seize and end the chapter. I must point out that by this chapter, I was strongly feeling like my units were getting stat screwed on my playthrough. Stat screwed is a term in the Fire Emblem fandom which refers to units being unable to level up certain stats that are desperately needed. Though this entire run, I have needed most of my units to level up strength to have a better time locking down enemy kills. But this was not the case no matter how much I wished against it. Alright, get some strength, Matthew. Please get strength. Gosh dang it! Does no one level up strength in this game? Okay. Strength. Strength. I'm going to lose it. Does anyone get strength? Can anyone get strength? Despite this, I still have no choice but to press on and hope for the best. Now, Chapter 16, the chapter to recruit Raven. For this mission, we have multiple winding pathways in this fortress to defeat the boss at the top and seize the throne. For this one, I decided to deploy Urk and hopefully build a good magic unit, since magic users are good against armored units. Does it work out, you ask? Allow me to defer you to the footage. Okay, very good. Alright, please get a good level up. I've not had many good level ups on this run so far. Bro, I swear, I'm getting stat screwed this whole run. Alright, come on. Come on, Urk. Oh my gosh. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Oh my gosh, that's twice. This is what I meant by Urk being worthless. I didn't use Urk on my first playthrough, so I had no idea, but now I do. I made my way into the castle carefully, doing my best to keep Urk alive because I may want to sacrifice him later in a more desperate situation. I sent Matthew to the left to claim the chests. With some well-planned enemy phases and spacing, I'm able to press Priscilla through and recruit Raven to the top right. This man is broken, and the run will be so much easier now that I have him. Enemy reinforcements begin to show up, and I worry they would lock in on Matthew, so I send Oswin down to take them all on! After that, I'm able to finish this chapter without a hiccup. Now we reach Chapter 17, the one that broke me. It's important to note that by this point, I have not invested in any range fighters, or flyers, which would have been crucial for this chapter. I have my first survive mission of the game. I need to survive 11 turns with only 8 deployment slots. All my fighters are melee units, and most of my enemies are shamans whose magic attacks can ignore the defense stat. Going into this one, I wasn't sure how I'd do. The best strategy I could come up with was to bottleneck the enemies at the stairs here with my toughest units and use Priscilla to heal as needed. I start by plugging the right side with Oswin and using Hector on the left. After the first 2 turns, I realize having Hector in front is a bad idea and opt to use Dorcas instead, giving him a hand axe to attack the shamans at range. Come the third turn, though... Oh, wait a second! No! No, this is... No! 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 Can you dodge? Can you dodge? Please dodge! Please dodge! Please dodge! My axe unit! And my hand axe too. I can't even give it to Hector now! It was at this point I began to think this could be the end, but had to stick it out in any way I could. My new plan was to reluctantly plug the hole with Hector and hit enemy phase as many times as possible. So long as Hector doesn't double, then I don't need to attack on player phase and allow that other enemy to create more space for me as to not be overwhelmed by the shamans. The only time to attack was when the enemies came to me. Somehow, I miraculously am able to survive to turn 10. I made it right to the end, one turn left, and I will have survived. I hit enemy phase one last time to see how it all comes together. Don't kill. Dodge, Hector. Dodge. Can you do it? No. Goodness. It's over. It's over. It's over. He has to he'd have to dodge 3 of these. Frick. Quite a disappointing end after making it all the way to the final turn. However, I don't think I would have made it much further in the run even if I got past this chapter. There are 2 key reasons I believe that play into my downfall on here. 1, getting stat screwed. So many times through this run I needed my units to level up crucial stats but couldn't for multiple levels. Second reason, not investing in the proper units. As defined by the last mission, if I had just invested in an archer or put some work into Florina, I might have made it by much easier on this chapter. Despite this, I had a ton of fun playing in Ironman. There's a great sense of urgency to it, knowing that I can't reset and that every decision counts and that I need to make it count. This run may not have been a success, but I have far more knowledge on how to better prepare myself for another attempt. Mark my words, I will do another hard mode Ironman and I intend to beat it. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.